we're going to review a concept that can be very difficult for some students, and that is trying to decide whether acceleration is positive or negative. What makes it complicated is that when dealing with acceleration, you actually have to look at two things: the direction the object is moving and what is happening to the speed. Only when you look at both of those can you accurately predict what's happening to acceleration. So let me show you an example. Let's say that you are moving in the positive direction. Remember that the positive direction is associated with the word away. So you are going away from the reference point. Meanwhile, your speed is increasing. In other words, it's getting faster. For increasing, I'm going to use a plus sign. Now, in your math class, if you multiply a positive number by another positive number, you will always get a positive answer. In this case, what it means is we are dealing with positive acceleration. So if you are moving away from the reference and you're getting faster, that's positive acceleration. Most students are really good at that example. It makes common sense. You're getting faster, positive acceleration. Let's look at another easy example. You're moving away from the reference. Remember that means positive. So that's your direction. And your speed decreases. That means that you're slowing down. It's getting smaller. For decrease, I'm going to use a negative symbol. In your math class, if you multiply a positive number by a negative number, you always get a negative answer, and that's going to tell us the acceleration. So if you're moving away from the reference and you're getting slower, that's negative acceleration. Again, that's an easy one for most students because it makes sense. You're getting slower, that's negative acceleration. But now we're going to look at the examples that make everything a lot harder. What if you're traveling in the negative direction? Remember, the negative direction just means you're going toward the reference. I sometimes refer to this as backward. Well, if you're going toward the reference and your speed increases, so you get faster. Remember that increase, we're going to use the plus symbol. In your math class, if you have a negative number times a positive number, you always get a negative answer. So that means that if you're going towards the reference and you're getting faster, that's negative acceleration. For a lot of students, this is hard for them to believe because they think that getting faster can't go with negative acceleration. But we just saw an example where even though the object is increasing in speed, it's getting faster, we still get a negative acceleration for the answer. This happens because the direction is the wrong direction. And so it flips everything that we're used to. All right, well, what if you're moving in the negative direction? So that means you're going toward the origin and you decrease your speed. You slow down. Remember that decrease gets a negative symbol. In your math class, if you multiply a negative number by another negative number, you get a positive answer. This means that if you're going toward the reference and you're getting slower, that counts as positive acceleration. Once again, students have a hard time believing this because they don't like to use the word getting slower with a positive acceleration. It just feels like that's impossible. But in this example, we see that it can happen. It's because you're going in the wrong direction, so everything is the opposite of what you expect. So if you're trying to predict whether the acceleration is positive or negative, and you're just looking at a story, what you need to ask yourself is, what direction is the object moving? Is the speed increasing or decreasing? And then put those together using the math rules of multiplication, and that will predict the correct acceleration answer every time. Again, this is a concept that a lot of students have a hard time with, so if you struggle with this at first, at least you're in good company, but with some practice, you can get really good at correctly identifying whether the acceleration should get a plus or a minus.